Picture this, securing a Hollywood legend who's notoriously hard to pin down for a touching documentary tribute, only to have him dictate the most outrageously quirky terms for his involvement. That's the delightfully odd story behind how Ryan Reynolds managed to rope in Dan Aykroyd for John Candy, I Like Me, a heartfelt film celebrating the life of the beloved Canadian comedian who left us far too early. If you're not familiar, John Candy was a comedy giant, known for his infectious charm and unforgettable roles, passing away tragically in 1994 at just 43. Produced by Reynolds and directed by Colin Hanks, who actually knew Candy personally from his childhood, this documentary is now streaming on Prime Video, featuring insights from top talents like Steve Martin and Bill Murray. But Aykroyd, Candy's close pal and co-star in multiple films, was the trickiest one to land. And here's where it gets controversial. Was his peculiar participation method a stroke of genius, or just a diva-like demand? Stick around, because the details will surprise you, and might even make you question how celebrities handle their privacy. During a Q&A after a Chicago screening of the documentary, Reynolds shared the hilariously convoluted process of getting Aykroyd on board. Both Aykroyd and Murray were initially deemed impossible to reach. Yet both ended up contributing. For Aykroyd, though, Reynolds didn't chase him down. Instead, he waited for the Ghostbusters icon to make contact. I had no clue where he was living. No one did, Reynolds recounted. Finally, I got a call from him, and in that quick, no-nonsense voice of his, he laid it out. Ryan, it's Dan. Here's the plan, kid. Come up here, have dinner with me, crash at my place, do the interview in the morning, and then hit the road. It sounds like something out of a bizarre comedy script, doesn't it? For beginners in Hollywood lore, this just highlights how some stars guard their personal space fiercely, turning even a simple interview into an intimate, almost familial event. But wait, it doesn't stop there. This is the part most people miss, where the tale takes an even more whimsical turn. Reynolds explained that Aykroyd personally picked him up from the airport, and not in just any ride. No, he rolled up in one of the iconic Lincoln Town Cars straight out of the 1997 film, Grosse Point Blank, a cult favorite action comedy starring John Cusack as a hitman navigating his high school reunion. That's one of my all-time favorite movies, Reynolds gushed. So, I asked, Dan, is this the actual car from the film? And he just said, yep, I bought 5 of them for $50,000 each right after shooting. I was over the moon. This anecdote not only showcases Aykroyd's eccentric personality, but also ties into his love for collecting memorabilia from his own projects. For those new to this, Grosse Point Blank is a sharp, satirical take on midlife crises and assassin life, blending humor with heart. A perfect example of how movies can inspire real-life quirks. Why does this all matter for the documentary? Having Aykroyd share his memories was absolutely crucial. He offers deeply personal, touching anecdotes throughout John Candy, I Like Me. But his most poignant moment comes from the audio of his eulogy at Candy's funeral, played over the film's opening montage. In it, Aykroyd hails his friend as a titan of a gentle golden man who lived as full a life as any human could. It's emotional stuff that sets the tone for the whole film. To give you some context, Candy and Aykroyd's on-screen partnership was electric. They first teamed up in Steven Spielberg's 1979 film, 1941, a chaotic comedy about World War II paranoia in California that bombed at the box office but has since been rediscovered as an underappreciated gem. Think slapstick military mishaps and over-the-top humor that prefigures Spielberg's later blockbusters. Then, Candy joined Aykroyd in the legendary 1980 hit The Blues Brothers, playing parole officer Burton Mercer in that soulful, car chase-filled adventure. But their standout collaboration was 1988's The Great Outdoors, directed by Howard Deutsch, where they played bickering brothers-in-law stuck on a disastrous family vacation. It wasn't a critical darling right away, but their chemistry, think hilarious rivalries and heartfelt moments, makes it one of Candy's best films, and a real treat to see these comedy icons together before Candy's untimely death. It's thanks to Reynolds' persistence, or rather, Aykroyd's eventual outreach, that we have these insights making the documentary richer and more authentic. Now here's a thought that might spark some debate. Is Aykroyd's insistence on such a personal, almost intrusive setup charmingly eccentric or unnecessarily controlling? Some might see it as a quirky way to build trust, ensuring the interview feels genuine and not rushed. Others could argue it's a bit over the top, prioritizing his comfort over the project's timeline. And what about celebrities who vanish from the spotlight? Do they have a right to set these bizarre rules, or should they be more accessible for tributes like this? Personally, I think it adds a layer of humanity to the story, reminding us that even legends are just people with their own boundaries. But I'd love to hear your take. Do you find Aykroyd's method endearing or exasperating? Should stars demand such turns, or is it time for a more open approach? Drop your opinions in the comments. Let's discuss. John Candy, I Like Me is available now on Amazon Prime Video, so why not watch it and see for yourself?